Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl, and it's also time for some balance changes! That's right guys, Supercell is dropping some emergency Brawl Stars balance changes. I say emergency because, let's just be honest guys, Jacky, she needed an emergency nerf. In fact, she's getting 3. Okay, now by the time you're actually seeing this video, the balance changes are already in the game. Let's go ahead and start off by talking about Max. Max is getting a 6% nerf to her health. Now at max level, her health is going from 4,760 health down to 4,480 health. This is gonna align her health to just, it's basically gonna be exactly the same as Jesse's and Penny's and Tara's and Leon's. Now, although 6% does not sound like a big nerf, it's actually gonna change a lot of her interactions with quite a few of the brawlers, okay? 18 out of the 34 brawlers are gonna be able to take Max out with 1 less projectile. And of those brawlers, Brock, Dynamite, Jesse, Nita, Poco, Rico, and Sandy will all be able to take Max out with 1 less ammo. 1 projectile is like, multiple projectiles per ammo. 1 ammo, you get the idea, it's an entire shot. So that 1 less ammo for those brawlers, that's pretty significant. Now the biggest change is actually going to be Max versus Brock, because now Brock will be able to 3-shot Max. Max has provided so much value. She has been really strong for kind of a long time. Really good, kind of like a low-key, really good brawler. I know a lot of people haven't unlocked her because she's mythical yet, or because she's mythic. And I think this is going to really help tone her down a bit. I still think she's going to be pretty good, but you'll have to be slightly more careful when playing her now. Up next, we got Frank. Now his active noise cancellation gadget is getting a 25% nerf to its duration. Its duration is decreasing from 2 seconds down to 1.5 seconds. Now to put this into perspective, if you're going to be using the gadget with Frank's super, you're going to need to activate that super within 0.5 seconds if you want to ensure that Frank is going to be able to use it without getting stunned or blocked or anything like that. There is still plenty of time for you to be able to do that, and I think that his gadget is going to still be incredibly beneficial, but timing guys, it's gonna have to be a little bit more perfect, and there will be less time for Frank to be able to use this for other situations like walking the ball into the goal or grabbing gems and running away or stuff like that, Now in case you're curious, I still think it's going to be an S tier gadget because Frank is so strong when he can unload 3 supers in a match, without getting countered by a brawler who can interrupt his super. He's so good. Okay guys, let's talk about Jacky. Jacky is getting 3 nerfs, guys. That's right, 3 nerfs. For starters, Supercell is increasing the delay between Jacky's main attack by 25%. Now this is happening server side, so I don't actually have any side-by-side comparison to show you. Now here's some information to help kind of understand what this means exactly. With every attack, there is an attack duration and an attack cooldown between each attack. Supercell could be doing a 25% nerf to both of them or just the cooldown. My guess is that they're just going to be nerfing the cooldown. This isn't like super important to know. The difference between those 2 different balance changes are very, very minimal, okay? What you need to know is that before these balance changes, there was 0.35 seconds between each attack. I'm assuming that Supercell is just gonna be increasing the cooldown time so that it actually gets increased to like 0.4 seconds between attack. Okay, you probably don't care about the math like I do. What you care about is how is this going to make Jacky feel? The time in between attacks is going to be the same as Brock unloading his regular shots, right? So it's not the fastest, but Jacky's still going to be able to quickly unload her shots and be able to deal insane damage really quickly before you can even really respawn to it a lot of the times. Now Jacky's second nerf is going to have a much bigger impact on Jacky if you ask me. Her attack damage is getting nerfed by 8%. At max level, it's decreasing from 1,820 down to 1,680. This changes how Jacky will interact with 6 of the 34 brawlers in the game. She will no longer be able to 2-shot Rico. She will no longer be able to 3-shot Ems, Mortis, or Sandy. She'll no longer be able to 4-shot Bull, and she'll no longer be able to 5-shot Frank. For every other brawler, the interactions are going to be exactly the same in a 1v1 situation, but this is going to make Jacky much more manageable for those 6 brawlers, especially Ems, Mortis, and Sandy, because that, being able to survive those 3 burst shots, that's a pretty big deal. Jacky's third nerf is to her pneumatic booster gadget. The speed boost that it provides Jacky is decreasing from 38% down to a 30% boost. Now, for reference, Jacky had the 2nd fastest movement speed with this gadget, making her slightly faster than Leon with smoke trails. after the nerf, she's going to have the 3rd fastest movement speed with this gadget. She'll be very slightly slower than Smoke Trail's Leon and slightly faster than a Robo Retreat Rico. Okay, now Jacky's getting 3 nerfs, and I told you all to push her, you know, before she got nerfs, because it was pretty clear that she was going to get some nerfs. So my question now is, how strong is Jacky going to be after these balance changes? As you can probably guess, I pushed her to 500 trophies ridiculously easily, and I didn't have her gadget or her star power, right? It was really easy, and I didn't even max her out. Okay, she still has a ton of health, and she can still dish out a ton of damage super quickly if you get too close to her. And one thing I love about Jacky is that the fact that she can attack around walls gives her a really unique advantage when chasing brawlers around corners, because she's faster than most brawlers, so she's like almost always guaranteed to catch up to them. She's really good that way. Now Jacky's not gonna be able to throw down her attacks as quickly, and I think that will impact her, but I don't think it's gonna be very much. And I still don't have her pneumatic booster gadget, so like I mean, she's still going to be a much faster brawler than most brawlers while using it, so I still think it's going to be a really effective gadget. Her biggest nerf is to her attack damage, but even then, that's not going to change the most interactions for most of the brawlers. Overall, I think Jacky's still going to be very strong, guys, right? Hopefully, she won't be game-breaking strong like she has been in the past. Even as I'm recording this video, I haven't been able to play her since she got her nerfs, but I feel really confident in saying that you should expect that Jacky's going to get some more nerfs in the future, because I think she's probably going to be pretty strong. Okay, now those are all the balance changes coming right now, but don't end the video quite yet, because I still want to talk about Jacky and her 2nd star power, because I haven't had a chance to be able to talk about that. And then after that, I'm going to talk about why I think Supercell didn't release very many balance changes, as well as give some suggestions on what I would do to further balance some of the brawlers in the game. Jacky's 2nd star power is Hardy Hard Hat. It permanently reduces all damage that she receives by 15% from all sources. This is like her health being increased to 9,058 health. That's almost 100 health more than a max out Frank, assuming he's not using his sponge star power, which is really OP right now, so you should be using that anyway, but you get the idea. Even when you do take star powers into consideration, that makes Jacky the 2nd tankiest brawler in the game. That is nuts, right? I actually think this is like her better star power. Her damage star power deals up to 1,155 damage to enemy brawlers, but they have to be right up next to Jacky or they won't get hit. And also, we're talking about somebody completely getting rid of Jacky. Like, that's the maximum damage it will do. And then on the flip side, her shielding star power is like an additional 1,358 health for Jacky, and it applies 100% of the time from any distance. Also, this is less important, but I do kind of like the fact that there will be people who think they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to 3-shot that Jacky, but really they aren't taking the damage reduction into consideration, so they might be off by a shot, which could actually be pretty clutch sometimes. I could see that happening. Okay guys, enough of Jacky. Let's talk about why I don't think we got very many balance changes, as well as suggest some balance changes that I would like to see in the game. Okay, first of all, I don't think that Supercell thinks that these are the only balance changes that the game needs. It's pretty apparent. I mean, they just released 33 new abilities for all the brawlers. I mean, it's crazy, right? I think that they just saw how ridiculously strong Jacky was, and they were like, okay, we got to nerf her really quickly. I mean, honestly, Supercell's releasing these balance changes 1 week after they did the update, so that's like really fast. Huge props to Supercell for that. Also, a lot of the changes that I think would make the most sense for like many of the gadgets would actually require more than just a server-side update. I am certain that we will see a lot of balance changes either sometime in April or possibly even some gadget rework sometime in the May update. Let's go ahead and talk about my suggestions for more balance changes, okay? First off, let's talk about Crow's gadget, which I really think needs a nerf. I was actually wrong with how I calculated Crow's damage reduction. With Crow's gadget shielding power, it allows him to survive up to 8.4 thousand damage, which is insane. And if you pair it up with his extra toxic star power, he can survive up to 10.5 thousand damage. That is way too much, and it definitely needs a nerf. Now, there are 2 ways that I would want this to be nerfed. The more boring way is to reduce the shielding from 60% down to 50%, you know, so the Crow would actually fall after like 6.7 thousand damage. It's still a lot of shielding, but it would make it a lot more manageable for enemies to take Crow out if they had more and like enough firepower to do that. But the more exciting way would be to just like leave it exactly how it is, but make it so that instead of using this gadget 3 times per match, Crow could only use it 2 times per match, right? This way Crow could make 2 amazing plays in a match, but each one would need to be really carefully calculated. It's like, hey, I can almost guarantee that I'm going to stay alive, but I gotta be careful when I do it because I only get to use my gadget twice, kind of a thing. You get the idea. Now, that's the only nerf that I want to suggest for right now. The only like emergency nerf. I think Supercell already did some nerfs that I agree with, but I do have a lot of suggestions for buffing several of the more useless gadgets, or just the less beneficial gadgets, or the gadgets that don't really make sense with their brawler's kit. First up is Dynamite's gadget. If I had to pick a gadget to say it was useless, this is the one that I would pick, right? In fact, not only is it useless, right? It makes Dynamite super vulnerable, which is not good. Somebody commented in one of my videos saying that the only real good use for this gadget is to flex on somebody after you beat them. You know, that's funny, but I feel like it's actually pretty accurate, right? There are two ways that I would go about buffing this. The first is to make it so that Dynamite could still move while using this gadget. That way Dynamite could run away and get some more damage when he's like out of ammo if he needed to, and you know, also cover a nice area as well. The second way that I would change this is I would make it so that Dynamite actually unloaded his mines all within 1 second. It currently takes, I think, 2.5 seconds for him to unload all of them. With it all within 1 second would be a lot less time that he's vulnerable, and also just make it so that it would deal more damage and provide a lot more cover, making Dynamite's gadget a little bit more opportunistic, right? Next is Piper's gadget. I think this is an easy one to fix. They could increase the damage that it does, and also I really think they should make it so that it's not interrupted by a regular attack. Now, another gadget that I feel could use some love is B's gadget. B is best played from a distance from enemy players, and she already has a slow for those situations where somebody does get a little too close to her. I feel like this gadget is just kind of useless, right? It doesn't deal damage. The 1000 HP can shield for like one attack if she's like playing, you know, like a long range sniping game and bounty or something like that. So that can be useful sometimes. But I feel like a better gadget that would actually fit B's kit a little bit better would be like if her gadget automatically made her next shot supercharged without her having to hit an enemy target or something like that. You know, just an idea. Now, I do like Barley's gadget more than B's because, you know, there are more often times when he ends up getting too close to enemy players, and it can be useful sometimes. But I do think that the radius needs to be increased by like 1 tile, maybe even 2 tiles. I think that Daryl's gadget really needs to be replaced with something else, or he needs to be able to move while he's using it. Otherwise, he's just like vulnerable like Dynamite is, and the damage is, I mean, the damage is decent, but it's just like, that vulnerability is a real issue for any brawler. Now, I do like Tick's gadget. I feel like it's a really good fit for him, but I think the damage from his mine could be buffed a little bit. I do also like Mr. P's gadget, but I feel like it's just not very impactful when compared to other gadgets. I think that they could also consider buffing the porter's speed and the range as well to like make it like a super porter, or you know, increase the health or something, you know, a little bit more. It's just a little bit useless at the moment. Another suggestion, if they want to keep it the way that it is they could make it so that Mr. P could actually use it 4 or maybe even 5 times a match. That way Mr. P gets a little bit of use more frequently, because I feel like it's just kind of useless right now as it is. Lastly, guys, I feel like El Primo's gadget is a little bit lackluster, right? There are a few times when he can get some value out of it, like the rare occasion when he's able to pull somebody away from the goal so that you or a teammate can actually score something. That's a cool thing that actually works. But then there are other times when he ends up picking up an enemy, and then the enemy ends up just being further away from El Primo than before he threw them. So one thing I would like to see is a little bit of damage, or a really short stun to the brawler that actually gets hit afterwards, so that El Primo has just enough time to catch back up to that brawler, right? Overall, I think that there are a lot of small tweaks that several of the gadgets could use to make them a little bit more balanced, but I do feel like these are the ones that need it most. I'm really curious to know what you thought about these suggestions, as well as what you think about the current balance changes. So let me know if you felt like Supercell missed something, or if you like everything that they had to do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.